Tonight, the Kansas Court of Appeals today heard some arguments in a case impacting transgender Kansans' ability to change the gender markers on their driver's licenses. 13's Callie Holthouse is here to explain the latest in this case.
Yeah, David, the Kansas Court of Appeals heard two appeals on the same case back to back. At the heart of both is whether people can change gender markers on their driver's licenses. The Kansas Court of Appeals is considering a 2023 law known as the Women's Bill of Rights. It upholds a binary view of biological sex, female and male. The Kansas Department of Revenue argues the wording of the bill does not apply to it.
Instead of using in Senate Bill 180 the term gender in conjunction with sex, they simply used the term sex and avoided any reference to gender.
They didn't think, the legislature didn't consider every angle, and I think they were trying to take the most straightforward approach. I think it's clear they wanted clarity in the statute, they want consistency in the statute, and that was more the emphatic approach that they wanted to take.
Kansas Solicitor General Anthony Powell says the state does not recognize a difference between gender and sex. Therefore, the law is applicable. The state is making the legal argument that allowing Kansans to change their gender markers on their IDs causes irreparable harm.
We emphasize this all along. It's irreparable harm for a state agency to not obey the law.
The lower court agreed and granted a temporary injunction, halting KDOR's ability to change gender markers on driver's licenses. A second appeal to the same case sought to have the injunction reversed.
The driver's license statutes and KDOR's gender marker policies don't use the word sex.
In both hearings, appellants argue the law forcibly outs people's transgender status and strips them of dignity.
It is not appropriate for a state to legislate discrimination.
The state says it's simply a matter of conflicting interpretations of the law.
It's a mere statutory interpretation case. Now it's clouded with the issues of transgenderism.
It'll be a couple of weeks before we see a decision on this case. For now, the pause on changes to gender markers on driver's license remains in place.